stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Kenna.
President Ricky Bell.
Here.
Mr. Conti.
Here.
Dr. Carpenter.
Present.
Ms. Gualdo.
Here.
Mr. McCarthy.
Here.
Ms. Provenza.
Here.
Mr. Suchovich.
Here.
Mayor Recupero.
Here.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Pitch.
Here.
I am also here.
Okay, before we get into the comment sections, I just want to express that the purpose of this meeting this evening is to conduct Verona business, and the information that you've probably been reading about, hearing about from Penn Hills involving our solicitor is not going to be discussed this evening, and We've already discussed it as a council, and the approach we're going to take is that I'm going to make a motion for a vote. Motion for a vote of confidence in regard to our solicitor and his practices for Verona Borough.
And I am seconding.
Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Just real quick, I just want to say thank you, number one. And I want to say to the public, I understand Sandy's to not want to discuss this and involve that in the meeting, which is supposedly for Verona business. I want everybody out there that's read the report, hopefully read my response, but I want you to know that it's not something that I'll run from, it's not something that I'll hide from. I had the opportunity to try to get it to be suppressed. I allowed it to be released. So while we're not going to discuss it here, because this is a Verona business meeting, if anybody out there has any question, has any concern, you can bring it to me directly. I'll provide you my cell phone number at the end of the meeting if you want. Give me a call and I'll address it. And if I don't address it, then we can have additional conversations. I just want the public to be aware that if you have a concern regarding me, let me address it directly instead of taking the time of the Verona public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, council will now hear comments on the agenda items at this time. Please approach the podium. Clearly state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Laura Jacko, 437 North Avenue. I think a couple of you probably know why I'm up here because I came to the rec board meeting about this ahead of time. I am working with Bridget and the Shade Tree Commission to work on a tree planting in our parks as well as on some of the right-of-ways. I've discussed it with the rec board and they have agreed with to go forward. It's going to be free to the borough, basically a service to the borough. The Shade Tree Commission has done projects like this multiple times in the past and they've been very successful. The only thing I need is a letter from the borough approving it. I have copies of, I have one right here actually, of approval letters from past times, and I can update it and bring the language to somebody. I just need to get it signed. Basically, it's a very short letter that says that, you know, the borough approves of us planting more trees in the parks for free. So I just need to know, is that something that the borough is still behind as they've been in past years? And then, if so, then who do I get the language to get a new approval letter written off?
So that would be me. Are there details on where the trees would go and what trees and where? And I mean,
so yeah, with the way that it's been done in the past is the same thing it is now. So I put in the application through Tree Vitalize for the grant, and then they come out and they do a site visit and determine with our rec board where it's most appropriate in the parks to plant them and what kinds of trees to be planting. So it is directed in conjunction with us. I just need this to get the application in first so that they will approve people to come out to do site visits to then look at where the trees go and so forth. I live on North and there's some people on North who are interested in getting trees planted in the front on their right-of-ways between the sidewalks and the streets, for example. And these would be small trees that don't interfere with, you know, sidewalks and overhead power lines and things like that, as opposed to ones that would have been planted previously. So they'll be there, but, the parks, that'll be done in conjunction with the rec department. It's my understanding that there have been lots of trees that have been cut down in the park, and a lot of times these will be replacing where trees may have previously been, for example, as well as replacing some trees from previous plantings that have died or apparently in one case got hit by a car. So.
Is there a point in time, and I wasn't on whenever we did the last one, but is there a point in time where council has any sort of say on what trees go where and?
I can bring it in front of you if you'd like. It's all pretty above board, so I can, bring their plans in front of you just to make sure it looks okay for everybody.
I think that would be important to do.
Yeah.
Plus the number, how many trees, because I know in the past they've determined how many they were going to give us.
Right. Exactly.
Then we had to figure out where they were going to go.
Yeah, I think it sounds like, from what I understand, they're being more helpful these days. They're doing as best as they can to get more trees out there, and they actually bring people in and suggest species, their arborists actually come in and look at the property and suggest the types of species given the specific land. So, for example, down by the park that's down by the river, they plant species that are tolerant to being flooded from time to time. And places that are near underground lines or above ground power lines and things like that, they'll plant trees that either don't have invasive root root systems or that are tall that would interfere with the power lines. So.
And they do things like have the right kind of tree by a sidewalk that isn't going to destroy the sidewalk.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, I don't think anybody's against trees, but I think ultimately the borough is going to be the one responsible for maintaining the trees financially.
So the ones that are on the street planting, the property owners watch after those trees, but the ones in the parks, yes. So, yes. And again, it's something that the borough's done before, and it's just kind of expanding on the program. And the benefits to, there's lots of benefits to trees, but I know one of the specific things we had issues with this year was flooding. And trees, especially getting more trees up on the hill, helps with preventing flooding issues because they suck up the water and they keep that more on site as opposed to it rolling down the hill. So I think it's important and a general good for the community to have more trees up the hill to try
Helps with erosion also.
try and prevent flooding issues. So yeah, I am Bridget is usually the one who does these, but she's gotten busy the last couple of years, so I'm stepping up to try and help out with it and help her run it. And so I've been working with her. She has all the information from previous plantings, and I've been working with all of the appropriate people who are involved, in the Shade Tree Commission and everything. Because we do actually have a Shade Tree Commission, and
We know that.
they work on these matters too and everything. So this is just, I need kind of a letter that the borough is okay with us moving forward with a project like this, so that I can actually get the application in before they even spend their time coming out. Because they're not going to spend their time coming out if a borough, then it's oh no, we don't want any of these, So.
Okay. So do you have an example there that you can give Mr. Kenner?
Yeah, this is one from 2014 with Bonnie Conway signed it.
And when do you need that, Laura?
The application is due March 15th. But the sooner the better.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Do I follow up with you?
Yeah, what's your email address?
Okay. Do you want me to just write it down for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want everybody to know?
Yeah, I don't care. That's kind of boring to be L-A-U-R. And this would just be changed a little bit because it says the Verona Business District Advisory Committee, and the group that's helping out with it this year is the Verona Community Group. But, same idea. Or you can just put the Shade Tree Commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that everything?
Yeah.
Does anybody on council, do we need to get an approval from council to move forward with this at this point? They need a vote, Craig?
Make the motion.
It wouldn't hurt to have a motion.
Can I have a motion for an application to the Shade Tree Commission stating that Verona is interested in the shade trees?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move forward then. Mr. Kennel.
Okay, the minutes for the meetings, the prior meetings were distributed by email, and everybody has hard copies in front of them. Those are for the January meetings. We would need motion to approve January meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve January meeting minutes.
Motion by Mr. Conti, second by Mrs. Loalbo. Who?
That doesn't matter.
Mrs. Loalbo. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Okay, the bills payable is in the financial reports that you received. We would need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Motion by Mr. McCarthy, second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Tax collector special taxes report. In January 2019, we received $16,911.76 in real estate taxes, and that was from the prior year. $2,579.28 in delinquent taxes. Those would be coming from our delinquent tax collector, Weiss Burkhart. There was no current year because it's January and none of the current year bills have gone up. So everything is past due at this point. $839.12 in real estate transfer taxes. $10,209.22 in earned income taxes. $3,028.60 in local service taxes. Need a motion to pay it.
Can I have a motion to accept the tax collector special taxes report?
I'll make a motion to accept tax collector special tax report.
Motion by Mr. Conti, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Loalbo. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
All right, the treasurer's report was also handed out. We began the month of January with $367,414.16 in the general fund. We received $49,849.88 in deposits in the general fund. We had expenditures of $108,457.94 for an ending balance of $308,806.10.
Can I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mr. McCarthy?
No. Conti.
Ms. Provenza.
Mrs. Provenza? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Before we move on to the police chief, I wanted to let everybody on the council know that may not have read the email. There's two reports on your desks that look very similar. One has 3 columns, one has 4 columns. The purpose of that, we're going to start doing that. We try to make a little bit of a improvement every year to be a little bit more transparent with the books. What this is the one with 3 columns is the same one you've always gotten, where you're going to get the current month, year to date, compared to the budget. That's the one you're used to. The one with 4 columns is a month over, or year over year comparison per month. So this one is January 19 compared to January 18. And then there's a column for the dollar amount change and a column for the percentage change. And you'll get one of those every month. And then the one that you're used to, in the past, all I did was, it was always just current month, year to date. This report is going to it's going to get bigger as the year goes on. Every month, but all the prior months will also be on the report. So this will grow and become much larger and eventually have to print sideways and like that. But, so next month, obviously this month there's only January. Next month, January and February, we'll have a column and then a year to date and then a budget amount. So you'll be able to look at every month independently every month.
Jerry, that's fantastic, thank you. Police chief's report.
Evening, we received 144 complaints in January, 20 crimes reported, 14 cleared. Both persons arrested for school already, 2 crimes code summaries issued, 6 vehicle code summaries issued, 51 borough code summaries issued. There were also 98 borough parking tickets written. Revenue, magistrate's fines collected was $313.23. Borough's fines and fees collected was $585. Police reports, $135. Municipal fines, $75.57. Total fines and fees collected was $1,108.80. Another $985 in parking permit fees. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I see on here January 6th, January 21st, January 22nd, and January 30th, false fire alarm. And I don't believe the fire department was called to any of them.
I don't think those are all false fire alarms, like January 30th is just false alarm. That could be a burglary alarm.
Okay.
Okay, and probably most of those are burglary.
Okay, I just was making sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a motion to accept the Verona Fire Chief's report.
Police chiefs.
Police Chief's report,
I'll
sorry.
make that motion.
Motion by Mr. McCarthy, second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Verona Fire Chief's report.
We had 7 fire calls for the month of January. We got a grant, a federal grant for, like, I forget exactly how much down to the penny. It was like almost 9,000. We just ordered some new chainsaws and some new roof saws and some stuff. The Elks had given us a $2,500 grant that we just got that for, to buy some different gloves and Nomex hoods and stuff. So I just wanted to say that out in public. Thank you to who all supported our bingo down at the Eagles. I know that's a fire hall thing, but thank you. Goes a long way to people. Also, the fire department, I don't bring this up too often, but manpower-wise, we're in some need of some help from the new members. We need new members, as well as every company in the valley, the state, just put it out there. If anybody's interested, has time to put in, stop up on a Monday and see us and talk to us. There's some time involved. There's some self-satisfaction in it too. So if anybody's interested, we're doing that. We also we're in a process of starting a junior program. So the junior program is from 16 to 18. Carrie, I'm going to get with you and go over all this stuff. And yeah. So just put it out there for the public that, Dawn puts it out there on video and people will see that, we're okay manpower-wise, but we could use some help. There's a lot of work to be done, and with a short amount of guys, it makes it pretty tough. So if anybody has some time, stop up and see what we do, and if it's for you, or, if you can help. Thank you.
What time are you there on Monday?
We're there from 6:30 on Monday evenings up on Parker Street. Thank you.
Anything more, Ray?
I think that's it, Sandy. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to accept the Fire Chief's report?
I'll make a motion to accept Fire Chief's report.
Motion by Mr. Conti, second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. EMS report.
Good evening. Total call volume for Verona Borough for the month of January was 17 calls. 5 ALS, 5 BLS, 3 cancellations, 1 refusal, 1 false call, 1 fire call, and 1 DOA. In addition to that, next month we are expecting a delivery of new ambulance will be probably before the end of March, hopefully. And we also just purchased a new Vortex van to replace one of the vans that we are currently keeping forward.
Thank you, Jamie.
John,
Can I have a motion to accept the EMS report?
make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich,
I'll second.
second by Mr. McCarthy. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
I just have a few more things. Craig, and you can help me through this language, but we need to schedule, the council needs to schedule a hearing for the subdivision of the Murray property and the signage subdivision on Allegheny River Boulevard where by Midway where the billboard's gonna go.
Correct. So I got an email from Mark Stan as well regarding the need for a public hearing on these two items, the subdivision, Murray property subdivision, as well as the proposed signage subdivision at 915 Allegheny River Boulevard. I don't believe that the Murray property subdivision is going to be controversial at all. I don't think that at all. I don't know about the one for 915 A or B, if there's any opposition to that or not. I would think that unless council knows something that I don't know, a half hour for both would be sufficient, and to maybe have the public hearing at 6:30 before our regular business meeting in March. Is anybody aware of whether that signage subdivision?
What are you talking about with sign?
It's gonna be where they're gonna put the billboard, Steel City Billboards is gonna put the billboard by Midway.
There might be some.
I think a half hour is probably sufficient though.
For both.
For both.
For both?
To start at 6:30.
Yeah.
So we need a motion to that effect.
Okay, I have a motion to have our hearing meeting.
Public hearing.
At the public meeting,
Motion for a public hearing to start at
6:30
March 12th.
immediately preceding our regularly.
on March 12th.
On March 12th.
March 12th, okay, just what Craig said, I have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Conti, is there a second? Second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Ms. Dory Tompa's time on the zoning hearing board has expired, so we would need a motion to reappoint. And she also sent me an email saying that she is willing to stay on the zoning hearing board, so we would need a motion to accept her.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Dory Tompa to the zoning hearing board.
Okay, motion by Mr. Conti, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And the last thing we would need is that I received a letter that's in this pile.
There you go.
Oh, you have it, okay. I, John Jablonski, am interested in becoming a member of the Planning Commission for Verona Borough. My background as an employee with Verona Borough Public Works Department would be a great asset to the Planning Commission. Sincerely, John Jablonski.
Okay, I have a motion to appoint John Jablonski to the Planning Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Conti, is there a second? Second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions?
I think I'd like to know more about this guy's background before we just appoint him to a very important board. Is there more of a process than just,
He's been employed by us
okay, I
For
don't know anything about
a
him.
year now, or he's in the Public Works, Nancy.
Okay,
He works with AJ and
Yeah,
Mr.
we've had we've had a hard time getting people on the Planning Commission, so I would,
I thought we were gonna rework that whole thing and remind ourselves who was on and how many years and
we just
I can
did
tell
that.
you who's on it.
and how many, where are they in their number of years of when they first signed up, and what's going on with both the Planning Commission and the Zoning Hearing Board? Because originally I thought they were gonna both have monthly meetings to do things like just figure out who's the president, the treasurer, or whatever, and go over some things. I'm not clear that that's happened since we discussed it many months ago.
I think you can get that information from Marcia in the office. She has the document and data.
And generally, what is the criteria to have someone be on the Planning Commission?
There's none.
There isn't?
You just have to live
The
here.
only thing is they have to live in Verona, I believe.
You have to live here. I don't even know if there's a requirement that you have to live here for a year, like there is to run for council. I think you just have to be an adult and reside here.
And how many people are on the planning commission total? And would this guy be replacing Mary Ann?
Yes.
Okay.
So he will have a 3-year term, starting this month, 2019, going to 2022.
Whatever her unexpired
Yeah.
term is, yeah.
Well, it expired in January. So Mr. Gold is on it,
Gold?
Dan Gold.
Dan
Oh,
Gold,
G-O-U.
Paradise.
Yeah.
Frank Paradise.
Frank Paradise, John Tamboro, Ray Appleby.
And you need 3 for a quorum. Mark Stanton sent an email to me and I think Jerry saying I'm having a real hard time getting a quorum there because we have a couple no-shows all the time. We had the unfortunate death, and he basically pleaded with us to fill that spot because I think there's a planning commission meeting, an important planning commission meeting coming this Thursday maybe.
14th.
That requires some action. And remember, the planning commission is a recommendatory body. So anything that they do has to come before council anyway. And then this council can take a good eye at whatever they've recommended to the board. Unlike the zoning hearing board, which is autonomous. All the council does is appoint people to the zoning hearing board. They make decisions. And if somebody's agreed with that decision, it goes downtown. It never comes before council.
And Mark Stanton works with the planning
Mark
commission
Stanton
also.
works with the planning commission.
So are any of these other people soon going to have their term expire
Got to look at the
Next
paper.
year.
Yeah,
at the end of this year, or?
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, beginning of 2020.
It's supposed to rotate. The way that the municipality's planning code is set up is that your planning commission members are supposed to come off, 1 or 2 each year. So that you got veterans on there and you got new people on there if you choose to put new people on and don't reappoint.
Okay. And this John Jablonski does live in Verona?
He lives on First.
Okay.
He works for
And
us.
there's a meeting of the planning commission on Thursday?
That's my understanding. I think Jerry just confirmed that, or Sandy did.
Yeah.
Is that going to be discussed later in the meeting, or what's it about? It's the first I'm hearing about it.
I don't even know. I would have to go back into my email.
I'll talk to Mark and see, and I'll get with you tomorrow.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion on the table.
Motion on the table to accept Mr. Jablonski for the Planning Commission, made by Mr. Conti, second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
That's it for me.
Thank you. Mr. Recupero.
A few things. I'd like to congratulate Matt Pitch on having his wife and him having a baby girl.
Thank you.
And what's the baby's name?
Carter.
Carter. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's their first one.
Awesome.
Good luck.
Enjoy it.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Enjoy.
They do grow up, right?
Yeah.
The monument out here in front of the police station, there's a car always parked there. Wasn't put up to intend for cars to be parked there. I'd like to ask the council to put no parking on the street rather than paint the curb right out
I mean,
there.
in between the 2 entrances to the
Yeah.
Borough Building?
Yeah, there's a car that's constantly parked right in front of the monument. I believe they live across the street.
All right, so make it no parking.
My opinion would be put it on the ground, no parking. I mean, it's a monument, we spent a lot of money, it was raised by the taxpayers.
I just want to make sure I'm in the right place and
Yeah,
what time.
right where the bell is, that little triangle there.
Okay.
Like paint a yellow line, or?
I think putting no parking on the street rather than painting the yellow line, sometimes the yellow line takes away from.
Right.
Yeah.
That may take a little while to do.
Yeah,
because of
right.
the weather, but I'll
Right,
make sure they do it.
Yeah, maybe next week when spring comes back before winter comes back the next day. The other thing I have for Matt, Wood Street, with that cold weather last week, and I know we've talked about this, but we need to come up with a plan of that drainage there on Wood Street, what we're gonna do. And then we keep talking about it. I mean, it's the entire board that keeps talking about it. We need to have a plan in place along with Center Avenue and Athletic. That really got bad with that cold
Yeah.
weather. That ice was probably 3 inches thick.
Center and Athletic, and then there's another driveway just up above Napa that there was some issues with drainage.
Oh, that's on the other side, on the
other side.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad too. I forgot about
So-
that.
Something's going on South Avenue as well, and
yeah.
it's draining down.
So, it's coming out of Penn Hills. They have probably, it's either an 8 or 10 inch pipe under the street and it's emptying right into
Yes.
Verona.
And normally it runs down the curb, but when it's
It's
cold,
all
it's
ice,
creating
yeah.
it. Yeah, Jerry and I and AJ, we've talked about it. There's, none of them are huge issues, but there's small ones happening everywhere. We're making a list of them.
I mean, is that illegal to just to dump water from another town into the borough? I mean, without going into the sewer? Because it goes all the way to 2nd Street.
Yeah, we don't have any sewers
Right.
up that high, so we'd have to look at putting one in.
Well, why can't Penn Hills put theirs across the street and coming down the other side into the sewer, where we have sewers? I mean, it's their water coming in to our town. Why should the taxpayers have to pay to eliminate their water that they're just dumping into our town?
Well, it's something we'll look at to see what's the most feasible way of routing it is. Jerry and I had also met with Penn Hills manager, and he's real open to working together on some projects.
He's a nice guy, yeah.
So even with the paving project, so I think we can work together and none of this just getting stuck with stuff anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see a plan, because I know we've been talking about it, you know, hopefully for the next meeting, you could have something in place. Hey, this is what we're gonna do. I mean, spring's here in
Yeah,
another month and a half.
Some of these areas that have caused a lot of issues like that, or the one at Center and Athletic, we noted them and we're getting on top of them come springtime here.
Can I elaborate a little bit, Dave? So Center and Athletic, we think that that might be,
It's spring.
well, actually, we think that it actually might be, Mark seems to think it's a valve from Oakmont Water. So we're gonna do a chlorine test. They're denying it, saying it's a spring. We're gonna test the water and see if it's tap.
Yeah,
If it is, we're gonna get on Oakmont Water, which is another theme that we're going to be doing, because we need to get on Oakmont Water, because there's been a lot of issues lately.
have they been getting permits?
Street opening permits? Yeah. Yeah,
Because I
we've been
know
on them for that. The problem is that they're not fixing them.
Right.
And then we've had the water main break last week, and they shut water off. We've asked them to put a valve at the end of Diamond Way, so they don't have to shut off the entire half the town every time that breaks, and they haven't. So we're gonna try, I talked to Matt, we're gonna get on Oakmont Water.
Well, apparently there was another one down across the tracks the other night.
Yeah, there was, it happened twice. Wood Street, that's where John Brady lives, right? So Mark and I investigated that. It's actually coming from the property behind John Brady's house. So Mark issued a letter to let those people know that they've got groundwater coming out and that they're gonna be cited if nothing happens with it. And then we also worked out a plan that Matt and I are working on to figure out a drainage issue for the other place on Center that's a little bit up the hill, where we have Mark, you know, kind of had an idea, and Matt is working on it to try to get that water into a sewer, or a storm sewer, instead of out onto the Center Avenue. So all those things are on the radar and all in process.
Well, I mean, I'm all favor of doing whatever we have to do, but Penn Hills needs to be involved and come up with some money.
Yeah.
If not, they make bags of cement, we could just clog it up.
Yeah, we talked, the one I'm talking about is the one on the bottom of Center, that's a little halfway up. That one.
I'm sorry, I thought you said south.
Yeah, the one that you're talking about was on South. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to figure that out. But these are all on our radar, and we're working on doing them.
And Matt, I see you have on number 6 here, you know, just to elaborate. I'll elaborate on that when you bring that up.
Okay.
That's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you.
Just real quick, sorry.
Yes.
That planning commission meeting is on the billboard subdivision. So if there is any controversy regarding that billboard subdivision, Thursday planning commission meeting, you might want to.
So there's gonna be the planning commission about it, and then our public
Then
hearing.
it comes to us and we have a public hearing. Correct.
Okay.
Okay, just a few things here. We had discussed at the last meeting that there's a chain of command here when things need to be posted on Facebook or text alerts or whatever. The authorization comes through the borough manager and/or the mayor. I just wanted to reiterate that again, so that everybody's not putting their information out there and Mrs. Del Rosso or Mr. Braun doesn't know who to go to. You need to come to Mr. Kenna specifically or Mr. Recupero. Ray, I'm going to ask you to work with me and Mr. Kenna on the 904 performance grant. I think it comes out in March, it goes to the county, and again in September for recycling and stuff. So we'll get together on that. And the only other thing that I want to make council aware of is that in the past, we've had OVR come in the summertime with My Work Initiative, and they're under a new director this time around, but Jerry did get the information from her, so they're interested in Verona again, so just to be on the alert with that. And
Can I make a comment on, you were talking about recycling?
Sure.
Those bins out there are overfilled again.
Are they?
I mean, how many times do they come? They get filled pretty fast.
They've been I don't know how their schedule, but Marcia's been calling whenever she sees that they're overflowing and they come out. But, all right, I'll let Marcia know.
I mean, it's an ongoing problem we have with this company.
I know.
Okay, Mr. Pitch.
Several of the grants or contracts that we have out right now, they're proceeding. The one, the PA Small Water and Sewer for more sanitary lining. I'll be getting that prepared to get it out for bidding. The Arley grant, as I mentioned, the poles had been ordered and some more electrical pieces had been reviewed and approved to be ordered, so that's moving along. The lining in Diamond Way is completed. There is some minor manhole and paving work that will happen come spring here once the asphalt plant's open back up. Once again, the multimodal monthly meeting was canceled, so we may eventually hear about that grant we had submitted, but there's no time frame on that yet. As for the 2019 paving, Jerry, Craig, and myself had met with the borough manager, or Penn Hills manager, sorry. They are willing to join us on a joint effort to pave the bottom portion of 2nd Street this year. So that would include from Church Street all the way to Wildwood. So we had tossed around the idea of using that as our 2019 paving project. So we know that Penn Hills would be willing to do their section. Penn Hills section is from Shannon down. So that's some of the worst areas, so that's good that they're willing to do that. If the board is in agreement, I could start working on getting the advertisement and bid package together for that.
I have a motion to authorize Mr. Pitch to begin the proceedings for the paving of Shannon Road to Wildwood.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Conti.
Second.
Second by Dr. Carpenter. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Matt, on that, have you been up, when was the last time you was up there to look at that? Yeah,
A couple weeks ago.
it's getting worse. They're turning on Shannon from 2nd Street to Shannon. There's a big dip there.
So as part of the project, we would, from Wood Street down.
No, I mean, what I'm getting at is can Penn Hills do something to alleviate, if you got a car that sits low, I've had a couple people complain, Sunday at church.
Just try to get something.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad, especially if you're coming up on 2nd to turn on.
Yeah.
There's a very big dip there.
I'll give them a call, see if they can get some cold patch or something in it temporarily.
Right.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Is that everything?
The other thing is the DCED Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program. That grant cycle for 2019 is open again. We had applied last year for a new pavilion at Cribbs Field. Unfortunately, we weren't selected in the 2018 cycle, so I would just like to resubmit basically the same grant application with some new letters of support from RAA, the school district, and the rec board. And Carrie is also helping out with some relationships with the school district on that as well. I would just need a motion to move forward submitting that grant.
Can I have a motion to have Mr. Pitch move forward on the DCED Greenway Trails and Recreation Program grant?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Conti, second by Mrs. Lalbo. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
So another thing that's been going on over the past few years with Alcosan is called a regionalization program. Nancy, Jerry, and myself attended the last meeting for that. And what that consists of is in the Pennsylvania as a whole, the sewer authorities are very rare compared to the rest of the country, as in each town owns all their sanitary lines. So what Alcosan is proposing to do is make more of a regional system. So anything that's 10 inches or larger and carries multi-municipal flow. So any of the lines coming from Penn Hills that would carry Penn Hills flow and Verona flow, they're proposing to take those over. With that, they're not taking any revenues away from Verona. The only thing that they ask is they've already inspected all of them, pointed out the flaws, and through some of our other projects, we've already corrected some of the flaws. There is one section of some flaws that still remains, that's up near the pickle factory up there on Wildwood and Second. So with that, the 2019 CITF grant cycle is open. I had talked to Jerry. We thought this was a good opportunity, and that would basically be about the last section. And then we could then get into the nuts and bolts of basically signing them over to Alcosan. And Nancy and Jerry and I talked about it, and basically once they're brought up to standard and Alcosan accepts ownerships of them, we'll never have to worry about them again. And like the money that we had to put into that dig repair in Diamond Way, that's one of the lines they're taking over. So as deep as it is and as troublesome as it can be, we'll never have to worry about it. But at the same time, we're not losing revenue from the flows that are going to it. And I guess this is more of an EPA thing, kind of leaning on, and it's not just Alcosan, other larger sewage plants are trying to do things like that as well. So with that CITF grant, the estimated project cost to do some lining, and there is one dig repair we'd have to do, is around $96,000. The grant we would request would be for $81,000, leaving a match of 15% or $14,000 for the borough to be responsible for. If everyone is okay with that, I would just need a motion.
Okay, can I have a motion to allow Mr. Pitch to move forward on the 2019 CITF grant?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. McCarthy. Are there any questions? Can you hold it for the, okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And the last quick thing I have, Dom and I had talked about and talked to the contractor. He's, for the lights at Cribbs, he's still aware that he needs to get in there and do that. Unfortunately, with the freeze-thaw cycle, he just hasn't had an opportunity to get the vehicles in there without rutting or tearing the fields up. And Jerry and I had also talked about the flagpole. There was a hang-up with the tax exempt notification to the company, so we've contacted them, but we'll have it ready to be put up in the springtime.
Okay,
And that's all I have. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Madam President. Most of my topics are discussed throughout the course of the agenda. Mr. Pitchett mentioned the meeting with the Penn Hills manager and our manager that I facilitated. with regard to that paving program. The Murray Avenue subdivision matter's already been discussed. Dr. Carpenter has the ordinances on her section of the agenda, and we talked about the police contract in executive session, and I believe that Mr. McCarthy's going to bring that up under his report. Other than that, I don't have anything further. I just want to thank the board once again for their vote of confidence in me. That I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Craig. And that's all?
That's all.
Okay. Mr. Conti?
I was asked to have the borough workers change the lights over at the pavilion to red and white. They tried, I know there's setups on it, they tried getting it red, white, and either it doesn't do that or they couldn't find how to get it like that, so it's strips of red and then strips of white. If he can figure out how to make it red, white, alternating, they'll do it, but I don't know that you can. And then one more thing, we have to look into that concrete in between Eilers and the light. It's pretty bad, the concrete pads on it. And that's all.
If I may comment on that, I just talked to Tom Benecki. That was put in as one of our CDBG projects for this year to remove the first 12 slabs and completely remove them and put asphalt down.
Okay.
So we should find out here in, I'd say the next month or two. But we're planning on using the guaranteed area-wide money to put towards that. So it's just a matter of the county signing off on it, so.
If we do asphalt, we have to make sure we make it appropriate for if the railroad does make that a trucking depot to hold the weight from these trucks going in and out.
So
Yeah.
part of the conversation I had with them is if they make that a trucking depot and they're gonna require additional weight, we can have them repave it to support those trucks.
Okay.
So we shouldn't take that expense, in my opinion, now, because we can make them do it later.
They're already aware of it.
Okay.
Where is this?
Center Avenue, right down here.
We would have it at least beefy enough to handle the amount of traffic it sees currently, and then if there was something increased, then we'd have to work it out with the facility at that point.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Carpenter?
Okay, I guess the first order of business is to go ahead and make a motion for the two ordinances, one for the permanent parking and the other for vacant property. Craig, could you please explain about the minor changes on the permanent parking and why we can vote on that tonight?
Sure. The permanent parking ordinance is an ordinance of the Borough of Verona, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, designating certain portions of 2nd Street and Center Avenue as permanent parking only during certain hours and establishing permit fees for the same. We advertised that for publication, and then through some additional discussions with Dr. Carpenter, we reduced the penalty from the initial penalty from $50 to $15. And the magisterial fine from $300 to $100 as the low end. And we included a provision in it that residents that live adjacent to the areas would be entitled to a waiver of any permit fee, that they would get the permit for free. And my opinion on that is that we could have enacted the ordinance as it was advertised and then changed those minor sections by resolution. It's not, it doesn't require advertisement to waive a fee. It doesn't require advertisement for council to change the penalty. In fact, the ordinance specifically gives council that authority to do that by resolution. So because those items did not require advertisement, it's my opinion that they're de minimis and you can vote on the ordinance as it's drafted.
And the way that you changed the fee, the citation fee and the fine, should they not pay the fee, lines up with the permit parking for the two lots.
Correct.
Okay.
I believe that we changed all of our ordinances to say 300 to 1,000. Every ordinance that we've done since Nancy's been on has said 300 to 1,000. But because the parking lot ordinance actually says 100 to 1,000, Nancy just thought it should be consistent, so I made it consistent.
So you're saying
I'd like
300 is
to-
100?
Yes, you don't have
This is
the
the
current
old
new
one.
one. This is the new one.
So, yeah, so you guys might have somehow there was a snafu with communication, and the permit parking that you guys have was the one right before the changes that he's referring to. So it's 15 and not 50, and any resident who lives where there's permit parking can get a permanent free permit. It says, any property owner who lives directly adjacent to the designated parking areas shall be entitled to a resident permit to park in the designated areas at no charge to the resident. Resident permits do not need to be renewed and shall last as long as the resident lives adjacent to the designated area. That was added to section 3. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to pass this ordinance for the parking permit for 2nd Street and Center.
Okay, motion on the floor made by Dr. Carpenter. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Loalbo. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And then the other one is for the vacant property. You read the first part of that, correct?
Computer shut down, I don't see a copy here. That is an ordinance of the Borough of Verona, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, establishing regulations applicable to vacant residential, industrial, and commercial structures, in addition to the provisions set forth in the International Property Maintenance Code. And this is an ordinance that we've spent some considerable amount of time and discussion and reviewing and revising and finally getting it into a format that's prepared to be enacted.
And basically what it's saying is anyone, any property that is vacated from this point forward has 180 days to register it and do a few things here that we just to keep it clean, have it up to code, taxes are paid, and so on. If they do all that, there's no fee, and if those things are not done, then there's a fee, and it goes up as each year goes by. Anybody who has a vacant property now, I think that there's a process in place where Mark is going to inform them that this has been enacted, and they have 30 days, which they probably could, ask for an extension if they needed it.
We're just out to get the people to register their property. We're not.
Yeah, and to make them clean, up to date, taxes paid, and so on.
And marketing, actively marketing them for
And
sale.
marketing, that's the other one, either to rent or to sell. So I'll make a motion to pass the vacant property ordinance.
A motion on the floor made by Dr. Carpenter. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
I wanted to go back, since the solicitor was not here at our last meeting, and verify about, we made a motion to authorize to advertise for a demo hearing for 473 Union
Okay.
and 558 Church. I think I forgot to tell you that.
You did. So,
But I don't think we were going to have the hearing for a while. But I don't
I think we're having a hearing, but we're not going to necessarily act right away.
We authorized.
Well,
We authorized to advertise for a hearing.
so
yeah, I'm a little confused. on the
do we want to have the hearing?
Well, in the ordinance committee meeting, there were 4 properties. The 2 were on 4th, and we
Do
put
we
them...
want to have the property on those two?
So these are the 2 that were considered the higher priority.
Do we want to have the hearing on those two? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'm not...
Yes.
Okay,
Do we?
so do we want to do that also before
March 12th?
March 12th?
Do we
Just start
want to
at
have that
6?
soon? For some reason, the month of April is looming in my mind.
All right, let's do that in April.
Discussed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, we can discuss it at the ordinance committee.
We can do it
On the
and-
25th.
and
We'll
then we'll-
discuss it there, and then we'll decide, and we'll schedule maybe for April.
Okay.
okay,
Okay?
all right. Let's see, okay. And the only other thing that I have is that E Code 360 is just about done. Just have to verify some of the dates on some of the things. I think they're all signed. We need to get the copies signed from tonight. So we'll do that. So E Code 360 hopefully will be done by March 12th. And will be done in plenty of time for the codification on April 23rd with the E Code 360 people. That's all I have for right now.
Thank you. Mr. McCarthy?
I have two things. I want to rescind the vote that we took on Nathan, I'll spell the last name, S-W-I-E-R-K-O-S-Z, to be hired as a police officer in Verona. Making that motion to rescind his.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion on the floor made by Mr. McCarthy to rescind
The hiring.
the hiring, and seconded by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Okay, and at this time, we're going to take a vote. I'd like to propose a vote on the revised police contract that was discussed in before, and I'm making a motion to accept pending the signing by the officers.
Okay, motion on the floor made by Mr. McCarthy pending the officer's signature on the revised police contract.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Mr. Suchovich,
Nothing at this time.
you gave it all. Thank you. Mrs. Lalba.
I have one question for the finance person. I just wanted to know, I know you mentioned about the 904 grant for this year, but last meeting I had asked about past ones for the past 2 or 3 or 4, or I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
And where would they show up on our finance report?
So, after investigating with Mike, there are 2 different recycling grant application or forms that we fill out per year, one of which we do, one of which hasn't been done since before Bonnie left. That's the one, that's the 904.
Okay.
So that's what we're working with Ray and Sandy to make sure that we get it, and we're gonna try to work to see if we can get the past ones, but
How many past ones didn't?
2014 was the last time that it was done, so before Bonnie left.
Okay, to 18, let's say. Well, no, 19 is for 18, right?
So we can still get 18s in.
Yes, okay. And what's the other one you referred, is that like a?
We have to report to the county. Is that, do I have it mixed up? The county and then the state?
You have
which-
to report the numbers to the county that's due in February, and that's one
Which I've done.
Those numbers can be used for your September application that goes before the state. And the 904 is the application for the state. I'm willing to help you guys with that.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, and that's based on our tonnage of recycling?
Correct.
Which, I don't remember exactly when recycling started, but it should have increased our tonnage greatly, which would bring more money back into the town. So hopefully we can get that. Thank you.
Mrs. Lalba.
Thank you. We had our rec board meeting on February 5th. One of the topics of discussion was the bocce courts at Cribs. Right now, I mean, they haven't really been used in a while, and they really are more of a safety concern than anything else. So we would like, they were asking if we can maybe have it torn down, and with the possibility of having it moved somewhere else, possibly down here at the park down here or down by the river, on Riverbank Park. We have to find a location for it, but right now, it's more of a safety hazard than anything.
It's a lot of, to keep it right, it's so much maintenance. You have to have someone willing to go every week to maintain it, and we don't have anyone to do that, so it's kind of getting lost.
I think if we do get it, move the court somewhere else, make sure that it is being maintained. If their leagues would like to get started again or whatever, we'll see what the residents would like to have. They want to go to bocce court. But right now, it's more of a safety hazard up at Cribs. So if we can have that removed, that would be great.
Should we notify the Eagle Scout who did it?
Was
To
that
let them know?
Yeah, it was an
That was an Eagle Scout project. I don't know who it was, I can't remember.
There's no requirement to. He has his Eagle Scout project. And
Yeah.
It's Verona's responsibility at this point, but certainly
Yeah, we
I
talked.
didn't know if we should notify them or not.
We took the steps down, those were an Eagle project over here in the park. I mean, the kids are just glad to get their badge, the Eagle
Okay.
requirement in.
All right,
So does Borough.
then we'll just do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Also, I talked with Matt prior to the meeting too, about getting the backboards for the basketball court down at Riverbank Park replaced. So he's gonna look into doing that for us as well. I don't have any idea on what to order, buy, anything like that, so put that in Matt's hands. We did discuss 2 future dates for happenings this coming summer. The Lower Valley Football League, they're going to have their flag football tournament June 30th. They want to bring back the wrestling event as well, and they're looking at the dates for August 24th, rain date of August 25th, and that will be held up at Cribs also. Concerts in the park, Dave Matlin and Jim Ashbaugh would like to take a lead on that, volunteer, and maybe try to get some nice concerts going again this summer. So if anybody has any good ideas they can talk with Dave or Jim and make it a fun summer. And Nancy, we were talking about the Earth Day cleanup event. You'd be done, you volunteered
right.
yourself for that.
I did.
So,
And my job was to get in touch with Kathy and Luke. I have failed miserably.
We're thinking about it ourselves. So.
Okay, we'll
get together there. We may have a Earth Day event coming up this April as well. Is there anything else? I think that's basically it. We touched on the lights at Cribs and the flagpole.
I have one question. Do we need a motion to buy Dave a wrestling outfit if they bring that wrestling back?
Hey, I was just a coach, that's all. Trainer, I guess
I
it
have
is.
more things too. The rec board was also asking if they could have like a maintenance schedule, some type of maintenance for the parks, like for Cribs. I know we were talking about, fertilizing it this summer, making it a pristine, nice park again, with the grass cutting, seeding, weeding.
Once we talk to Matt about his schedule, once we know he's gonna start, we can get a schedule from him. But me and Jerry have to talk. Matt doesn't do the fertilizing, so we have to find somebody who does the fertilizing. And once we do that, then we can get a schedule from them as to when they'll be up there to do that.
I've talked to a couple people, I have some numbers, so we'll discuss that and decide on what to do. There were, being that it hasn't been done in a while, there was a series of things that they wanted to do, to different treatments at different times, and he told me that there were like periods of time that nobody could be on the grass, and especially kids and stuff like that, but I'll go over all that with you and we'll come up with a plan.
So whatever happened to, we've always fertilized, we had the company come out, I think it was True Green.
True Green did it for a while and then they just stopped.
I don't know why they stopped, but it just stopped.
Well, we had them for years.
We bought a striping kit for the Z-mower because it looked so nice.
Yeah.
It was all grass, nice and green, and they were putting the stripes on, and it looked beautiful. And then all of a sudden, they stopped coming, and weeds are everywhere.
Because Oakmont Country Club came down with all their equipment and aerated the whole field, and that's when they told us what to do and use, and we started, none of you were here, we got the company to come in 4 times a year.
And we're gonna start doing that again.
Yep.
And we're gonna have lights up there, a scoreboard, hopefully a new pavilion, with concession stand and all. I'd like to make it look good.
I do think they were concerned about rolling the field. There's a big like 300-pound roller thingy, so because they're afraid when they're playing football, which some other thing starts on March 31st, I believe. It's like
Their weekly meeting, their
they're
weekly games.
playing games.
Did Tim say that he
And they're
had-
concerned about ankle injuries with a lot of the ruts that are in the field right now.
Well, that's what we're trying to eliminate. It used to be pristine, now it's not, and we're trying to get it back to where it was. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but we're starting to work on it.
I think it's important too that it's going to cost taxpayers a lot of money to get this done.
Yeah, that's why we
condition that we're in.
haven't agreed to anything yet, because we're trying to get it as cheap as possible.
Because RAA isn't paying until the whole light situation, because we
Yeah.
have that contract with them. So,
Yeah, and they'll be more than happy to maintain it once it's all real nice.
right.
That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Provenza?
Yes, thank you. I'll start with the newsletter. We need our ads and any articles that you have, we need them by March the 10th. We want to get it in a lot earlier so that they can have it ready for us the first week of the coming of the newsletter. Also, I'd like to explain, I worked on the Banner community, and I know we have some new people here, and maybe you're not aware of what the Banner community is. And Sandy, if you don't mind, just a couple words of what the Banner community is.
I started that several years ago. Thank you for continuing it.
You're welcome. Recently, I applied to the Allegheny League of Municipalities for us to be recognized as a 2019 Banner community. And what it is, it's an award that they grant to municipalities that distinguish themselves through professional development, intragovernmental cooperation, sound fiscal management, and proactive communications with community stakeholders. And I am very pleased to inform you that I've sent all the paperwork in, and we have been granted the honor of the Banner Community for 2019. They were pleased with all the paperwork that was done. It was done in a very early period of time, and they even requested a newsletter, because we marked in there that we do a newsletter now, and they were extremely impressed with our newsletter, which made me feel very good, because I am part of that committee. Angela is, and so is Kathy Ferguson. So we have been approved, and we are officially Banner Community for 2019. And I have one other thing, if you don't mind. I have a check for you, Jerry. I'd like to present to you. We had 10 stages in our garage. I sold 4 of them several months ago. I had 6 left. I had set a goal that I would sell them with approval from council. I have just sold the last 6.
Thank you.
We now have a total, I brought in $500. There's the balance.
Very good.
Stages are gone, and I will tell you, the borough people are delighted. They said, we've got our space, we're happy, we thank you. They were large, they were heavy, and nobody could move them around, and we had no use for them, so
Thank you, Sylvia.
there you are, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Who bought them? Shiner. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Carl.
Shiners.
I have to say one thing. It is not easy to sell stages. It's not like selling a crib or a piece of furniture or dishes or something. It took a little time, but I got it done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome.
Okay, any reports from the special committees?
Do you know about?
Okay, COG won't be meeting until
Thank goodness.
February 27th. So council will now hear comments from the public on public-related items. Please approach the podium and clearly state your name and address. Limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Curtis Brown, 67 East Bear Vista, Verona 15147. So I wanted to get some clarity on the information that's coming to me regarding the text marketing of the messages that are going out. So I should only send out information that comes from Mr. Hanna and the mayor.
He's the chain of command, so it comes from him or the mayor.
Okay, so all the parks, movies, and all that information, will they know to just make sure?
Information comes through council.
They've all been told to send everything to me, and I'll get it to you.
Okay.
And I can text you the information, right? So like, if I get something in the middle of the day that we have a cancellation, I can just shoot you a text.
You shoot me that, and now wherever I'm at, I'll send it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob, did you have something you wanted to ask?
Just wanted to make a comment.
Can you come up to the podium?
Barbara Cooper, 568 Church Street. Mr. Fish, make sure you notify Alcosan and put that in writing that they're going to be responsible for the sewer line.
Oh, it's a
Because down
massive.
the road, 10, 20 years, they're going to come back and say, we don't know nothing about it.
It's a massive legal agreement. They've been working on it for over 10 years with teams of lawyers and everything, and it's still not even finalized. We're in the home stretch of it, and it will come before us for Craig and the board to review and
Yeah,
everything.
just make
So
sure it's written,
it will be everything smooth by the time we're done.
because they'll come back and say, we don't know nothing about it. 2019, that's 2025.
Yeah, it will be documented very well.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, what?
One more.
It was over there. I think Nancy stole it.
I'll get you.
Hi, my name is John Leff. I live at 733 East Railroad Ave, directly across the street. I kind of wanted to ask about the parking situation for residents of Railroad Ave. I'm not allowed to park in front of my residence, I guess, because the business owners don't like that. But they'll park in front of my residence during the day. So I have to park at a lot on the other end of the street. Sometimes, if I leave my house at night to go grocery shopping or something, I'll come back, the lots will be full. If there's a Pens game or something at the bar, everyone's there. And understandably so, I can't park in front of the...
Is that your car?
That's my car.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, no worries, I get it.
But you see our point though with that. I'm not trying to...
Yeah. I guess I wanted to know who I could speak to about maybe parking in front of, where I live.
How come you can't park in front of where you live?
I live right above the seamstress. She doesn't like it if I park in front because the customers have nowhere else to park, I guess. So I parked in front of Arbuckle's during the day. They don't like that because customers don't have anywhere else to park. I'm just kind of, I don't know if maybe, since I'm a resident, if I might be allowed to just park in front of my house. Because there's plenty of spaces for customers to park, and the lots are for customers to
You
park.
say your house, you mean your
My apartment,
apartment above the seamstress place?
Yes.
You're asking the wrong folks. I mean, you're absolutely allowed to park there. I don't believe it's a no parking or, you're absolutely allowed to park there. It's your landlord that doesn't want you to park there.
Well, my landlord said that I was allowed to, whenever I moved in.
Gloria just
But
doesn't
I've
want
been
you.
ticketed for
not the
having
landlord.
Is it a 2-hour parking only there?
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
That's
It's
why.
2-hour parking, but it seems to only be enforced if, it's problematic for a business owner.
We've heard that complaint. We're in the process of addressing that.
yeah, the chief brought this to my attention, and we're trying to figure out a way to make everybody happy,
Sure.
and it's tough.
So I wonder, in the vein of the thing we just passed, even though it doesn't really include where he's talking about, could we just give him like a permit and then he would be able to park there for more than 2 hours?
That's a council decision.
But I mean, legally, can we do that?
Either that, or, I mean, I don't see why he couldn't park in the lot over here.
Well, and then give them a permit.
So you're saying he does park in a lot, but sometimes he comes back and there's no places to park in a lot?
I'm talking about this lot right here.
Oh, right, our lot.
Oh, right there, yeah. And just give him a permit so that everyone knows that he's allowed.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, I mean, that's up to the board, it's not up to me, but I don't have a problem
I
with that.
mean,
and-
the spaces aren't taken up during the day and stuff, so.
Yeah, usually, so me and then my girlfriend, she also has a vehicle, she lives here too. I mean, we're away, we usually have both cars away during the day, it's just parking at night, generally, except for on the weekends.
Well, it's not 2-hour parking at night, is it? You can-
No.
Yeah.
Not at night, but say, we both work at the same place, so
Yeah.
if we take one car to work,
You leave one
another
here.
car is left.
Well, can we let the chief know and let Annette know and give him something that he can park here?
Why don't
Without
we,
getting a ticket?
why don't we, at this point, tell them to kind of lay off for right now and let's come up with a long-term solution?
Okay.
But for right now, we'll kind of tell them to lay off the tickets until we come up with a solution.
All right.
We
Is
need
that
to
acceptable?
identify give
Yeah,
the
what-
license or
yeah, can
something,
you-
so we know which.
You know what?
Not
Drop
ticket.
a copy of the license plates off to the chief.
The police secretary, if he's not there, the police
Secretary.
secretary's there, and that, give it to her.
Okay.
And I'll talk to the chief in the morning on that.
And we'll try to come up with a
Yeah.
long-term solution.
Thank you so
You
much.
should be.
Can you just spell your last name so we have a
Yeah.
few minutes?
Sure, actually, first name John, Jon, so no silent H, last name Leff, Leff.
I got it almost right. I had it LAFF.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Second by Mrs. Provenza. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
You gotta make a decision. You can't do